Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fueled by Progress, hosted by me, Mark Joseph Szymanski. Today, we are in the studio completely alone. We don't have a guest today. It is our second episode of 2021. I did a little bit of bad scheduling. We'll get into all that. But the reason that I'm doing this today is for several reasons that we'll go over. But I want to talk about Fueled by Progress. I want to talk about the brand. I want to talk about this podcast. I want to talk about a lot of other things that are associated with the Fueled by Progress brand. And I want to talk about a little bit what we've done so far, but more so I want to talk about what is on the horizon for 2021. And didn't have a guest this week, so I thought I would just sit down and chat just by myself, just to give you guys an update because you've supported the hell out of everything that we're doing, and I'm so happy for that. I'm trying to do a lot of different things. Fueled by Progress is just one of them, but I feel very passionately about it, and I love the idea behind this brand. I love everything that it stands for. I literally, it's my life motto. Just continue to stay fueled by progress and keep going. So that is kind of where we're at. But I want to jump into it. I want to kind of lay it out, and there'll be timestamps in this video. I tried to do my best with the agenda of it, but I just want to talk. I love talking, and I want to talk about this. I want to talk about if you're invested into the brand and the podcast already. If you've watched episodes, maybe a couple of the people friends of yours that you've been on the show. If you'd like to be on the show, always reach out. But if that's you and you like what we're doing so far, I just want to kind of, say thank you. I want to tell you kind of where we've been and where we're going. That's kind of the point of this. So let's talk about it a little bit. Obviously, we just reached a new year, 2021. First, we're going to go back. We're going to talk about the inception real quick. And that was back in 2019. I had the concept and the idea of Fueled by Progress. I didn't know it at the time. I actually listened to a couple episodes. If you scroll way back, if you're on Google Podcasts or you can't see it on YouTube because we didn't have YouTube videos at that time. But if you scroll back to any podcast platform, you can see where we began. And it was just me talking in my car with much less quality than this now that we have with the equipment that we do. But I was just holding my phone up to my mouth and chatting, normally to and from a job that was not making me happy at the time. And it was the beginning of something big. And we're still just getting started, but we've made a lot of strides since then, specifically with this and like I said, with other things as well. But that was in November of 2019. We started recording. I started recording just on my phone in my car. So, and the one thing I feel like I have to do all the time, no matter if it's on my MJS stuff or FBP stuff or whatever, I feel like I need to always say, kind of give what I did, but also say that it's not that hard, or like give an idea of maybe you want to start a podcast, right? And you're like, well, nah, I can't just do it in my car on my phone. That's not good enough. That's not worth it. I mean, just start, seriously, because once you start, the thing that's going to do for you, those car episodes made me realize that I enjoyed what I was doing. They made me a better talker, kind of to a certain degree, right? You continue to get better at the things that you do. Made you more comfortable. It's kind of weird to hold your phone up to your mouth, I think, in your car. I think a lot of people don't do that. So once you start doing that, you start to realize if it's something that you enjoy doing, and to extrapolate on that, like sitting down and having a conversation with somebody or just talking about the things that you're doing, documenting those types of things. So I think it's really important to just start. Doesn't matter where you start because you can always get better. So if you're out there and you want to start a podcast or a YouTube channel or something, don't worry about what you have. Just start and see where it goes, because it's not all about the equipment. Equipment is important, but we're not going to dive too deep into it. But like I said, just start, and that's kind of where we started. So that was in that was in November of 2019. We started with that concept, and again, if you look back at those, that's kind of the lineage of what happened to me. I was working, and then I decided, now I'm not happy with this, and I tell the story through this podcast early on. And honestly, mostly forgot about those episodes until I look back at them just before recording this one. So, but that very early on. I want to talk a little bit about 2020, and like I said, I want to talk more about 2021. So let's fast forward there to 2020. That was the foundational year. I left my job at the end of January, and I've been building FBP and alongside other projects and brands that I have. And the throughout that first, if I remember correctly, and I was looking back, but I didn't like take great notes, between January, the beginning of 2020, and July, I think I might have had a few different episodes that I put up there, but that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I was at that time, I wanted to do more. I wanted to be more like a real podcaster, where something more like this, where you have video, you have good audio, and you have things. So I remember those ideas started to stew, like, and spin around in my head. So on July 2nd, that was the big day in a sense for this podcast. That was when the dawn of a new era, I think, is the first YouTube video on this channel, and it was me in my like little new room setup thing that I had, and I was just talking. I was talking about I think it's 7 or 8 minute video about what's happening next, right, and where we're gonna go from here, and that's kind of where this new era of FBP was born, and I couldn't be happier with how it's gone so far. In 2020, we started that YouTube channel, so that was back at episode like 46 or something like that. We're up in the 70s now, so every week we've done that. It's been great. We've had a guest on every week except like one. I think we skipped around Christmas, and obviously this one, but we've made great strides. We've had great conversations with people in my life and people that it's funny because when you start something like this with that in mind, you have people that you know regularly, that you're like your friends, like you talk to them all the time. I've had people on that I talk to on occasion, but they're more like acquaintances, and I got to know them a lot better. I've had people that I've never met. I met them the first time when I talked to them on the show, and then they're great friends after that. I mean, it's awesome. And, I'm very grateful for the discussions that we've had so far. I hope that they have positively affected, people out there. I know that I have benefited from them. So I'm just, I can't say thank you enough to the guests, and obviously you guys that support it as well. Our audience, I greatly appreciate it. And then also during that time, we went through some studio evolution. Like we've had episodes on Zoom. We've had episodes in my parents' basement, like at least one of them with Amanda, I think. If you want to count the one in my room, like my new setup room. We've the whole podcast thing, and I'd like to do some more content on that. The whole podcast setup is mobile, so I can just pick this up and take it anywhere. It breaks down into a couple little cases, so it's kind of nice because we could do also. We could almost do house calls in a sense. So we've done like 1 or 2 of those, I think. But the main studio setup, initially, it's out in my parents' garage, like the white table. If you look back on the YouTube channel, you can see that the white table just in like the garage setting, and that worked fine. That was okay. But as we got into like more of the winter time and just kind of wanted more of a space, you see the studio that we're in now, which is kind of barren and behind me here, but like we got, just like small things, like, the table with a nice little, black tablecloth. There's I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but on the sides we have, and on the doors and stuff, we have some like drapery cloth things. So just steps in the right direction, right? Steps forward. And that's what we're all about here, obviously, fueled by progress. So I like to document these types of things because one day you're going to look back, and if you continue to do something, you're going to be light years ahead of where you were today in 2021. So that is, those are some big things that happened just recently here, and yeah, more to come in 2021 when we get there. So, but also in 2020, and just kind of like to give kind of the lay of the land as far as where we're at right now. We have over 1,000 listens on all podcasting platforms. So we use Anchor, and that is what our metrics are saying. So over 1,000, I think it's close to like 1,200 or something. Over 2,000 views on YouTube. So thank you very much. We appreciate that greatly. and 45 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So we're moving. I don't think that's bad for 6 months, 6 months of work on just building that up like once a week. And we have a lot. I have a lot of things planned, and Amanda is going to be a huge help in this as well. So we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline here. So that's kind of where we're at. That was 2019, the conception year, 2020, the foundation year. 2021 is going to be a big year for me, as well as for me in general, but also specifically Fueled by Progress, which we'll talk about here. I am so excited for the things that we want to do here. And I don't, just like kind of like a little personal thing, like I wanted to do all of these for a very long time. I wanted to do all of these in 2020, but there was kind of a mental block with the other things that I had going on, but also just the way that I was thinking about things. And I really thought that I should just focus on the foundation pieces in 2020. And I think it served me well. I think it was a good idea. I think it was a good way to handle things. But 2021 is going to be all about growth. There's no doubt about it. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get the podcast out to more people, to get the brand out to more people, because I fucking believe in it wholeheartedly. And I know that it can positively affect people. And I know we're bringing a lot of value. Not really just me. I'm not saying that it's me. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of good people in my life. This is the way that I've operated to this point. There's a lot of good people in my life that I know, that I've met, from friends of friends and all that. And I know that there's people out there that can benefit from hearing stories and perspectives. And I want to give people a platform to do that in some capacity and just have cool conversations. I love sitting down and learning about what people have done in their lives and where they're at and what they're passionate about. And if I can be of any added value, if I can bring any value to that conversation, then that's a bonus. So, but that's kind of where we're at. So this is the meat and potatoes of it. I really want to talk about this because I am so excited, like I said, for 2021. So let's dive into it here. I'm gonna talk about the entire brand of Fueled by Progress and what my vision is for it, and some actionable steps that we're gonna take to get there. So if you're excited, if you're supporting the brand, again, thank you so much. But this is what to look for, and I want you guys to hold me accountable for this, because I do a decent job of holding myself accountable with certain things, not going to the gym, but with mostly business things and trying to build further. But if you have, I want to preface all this. If you have any ideas, if you want to support in any way, if you want to just, whatever, like if you want to be on the show, always feel free to reach out, either me directly or Fueled by Progress. Like, we're all over the place, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Even the website, when it's finished, we'll get to that. But if you ever want to, say anything, you have any feedback, whatever, please let us know. We're always open to it. But yeah, I'm going to share everything that's going on in my head with Fueled by Progress, because this is a Fueled by Progress update, obviously, a recap and update. So here we go. So 2021, the year of growth. And we have to start with the three parts of this brand, Fueled by Progress, that I kind of have in my mind right now. And again, this might change over time, but this is currently the lay of the land. So obviously, the first part of the brand is the podcast, just because it's the thing that I've committed the most to. It's the thing that we've produced the most of, and just our biggest focus to this point. So we have the podcast. It's going pretty well. We'll touch on it a little bit. The other two parts is Apparel. It's actually funny, because that is the reason that I came up with this name, and like the first thing that I wanted to do, but it kind of morphed into the podcast because I was already making podcast episodes and I didn't have a name for it, but it all worked out. But it's just funny. And that's another thing too. I'll put that piece of advice in there. Things are going to change. You got to be able to adapt. Don't get like super set on one thing, because there's a lot of times you'll do something and then you'll think of something else, and it's like, wow, that was actually a great idea. Let's change it out. Let's do something different. And yeah, so I just think that's super important to constantly recognize that. But three parts: podcast, apparel, and community. So I have three distinct ideas of what those are and how they all merge into this brand and what their pieces are in it. So I'm going to go over that. But those are the three things: podcast, apparel, and community. So let's talk about podcast first, because that's where we're at right here. And that's the most familiar so far. So these are some of these are almost like New Year's resolution, but they're kind of just like goal type stuff. I need, and I absolutely am going to get better at scheduling these episodes, because at this point I have a list of people that I would love to have on the show. Just like people that come to mind, like mostly friends and people doing cool stuff in my life. But that's not an all-inclusive list. Like, I would love to have other people on here because everybody has a story. I really believe that. Everybody that has come on the show so far, not one of them has had a bit of boring things to say. Like, not one person was lackluster. And I get a lot of people actually that I reach out to, and they're like, "Yeah, I'd love to come on the show. I don't really think that I have anything cool to say, or a good story or anything." I'm like, like you have a life. I mean, you've lived a life. You absolutely have things to say. You absolutely have things to talk about, passions that you're in. I mean, just don't sell yourself short. I think that's actually an episode title of one of these. But yeah, I mean, 100%. We're open to it. I don't like discriminate on who we bring on the show. So I love talking to people. I love hearing stories. If you'd like to be on the show, please reach out. But I need to get better at scheduling. That's the whole point of this, because to this point, I've actually kind of almost every single one scheduled like the week of or right before. I think there's only one time where I had 2 episodes filmed at the same time, so I could just kind of take a week off. I don't want to get super far ahead, but I would like to, if we're going to continue to do one a week, I'd like to have almost like 2 in the bank, almost at all times, just be like a week ahead or something. Because it's kind of stressful, especially considering that I'm doing it all myself right now, as far as the setup, the filming, the actual being in the podcast, the editing, the posting, all of it. So, and that I don't actually have that written on this list, but that is also another thing. I'm not overrun by that or overwhelmed by that, but I think that we could potentially be expanding somehow this year as well, depending on how things go. Maybe getting more help in that regard. So if you're interested in that too, make sure you hit me up. But yeah, absolutely better at scheduling, more guests, and just being more on time with some of these things, because I'd like to, again, last thing here, is I'd like to get them up on time, and I think a lot of times they're not up on time, which I don't really know if anybody really cares that much, but just trying to hit that Wednesday at noon every single time, we're kind of not there right now, so I'd like to be there a little bit more. But yeah, that's important. That's important to me. It's more of a logistical thing and just like a operational, but that's important. Okay, this is actually a huge one. So, as I mentioned, I think we've had decent numbers for the amount of work that we put in, for the amount of marketing and everything that we have so far. I think we have decent numbers. I think we have 1,000 listens on podcasting platforms, 2,000 views on YouTube, 45 subscribers on YouTube. I think that is pretty decent for what we've done. Now, is that where I want to be? Not at all. Like, that is not close to where I think we could be based on what the value providing and everything like that. But whose fault is that? That is 150% my fault. That's another thing. I think you should assign blame to yourself before you start blaming others. And it's worked well for me, because what that allows me to do is I say, okay, Mark, you've kind of screwed this up. You haven't screwed it up, but you haven't. There's things that you could do to be better, right? And whose fault is it? It's my own. So what I think, actually, I'm almost certain what I know that we need to do is a few different things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing here. So if you're interested in that, maybe this will benefit you, but mostly this is kind of revealing our marketing strategy here for 2021 with Fueled by Progress specifically. And honestly, this is going to work for any sort of long-form content and podcasting, because everybody else does it and they have success. So here's what we need to do. The structure has already been laid. The foundation was laid in 2020 because I knew what I needed to do, and I'm a big structure guy. I like putting the things in place, but as far as like executing them and fulfilling them every time, I really need to get into a routine of doing that for that to work. And I do it for the big podcast episodes, but there's pieces that are lacking. So I'll give you an example. Every single week I film an episode. I edit the episode, I post the episode. It gets up generally on time, right? As long as everything goes well, we have the guest and everything like that. We have a Fuel by Progress episode posted on the YouTube channel and on the podcast platforms every week around Wednesday at noon. Gotcha. So we do that. That is fantastic. That is at least the most important step, right? Here's the problem, though. I don't know if it's a philosophical thing, but like it's like a human psychology thing. I don't know if that makes sense. But if I am a random person, okay, and somehow I see Fueled by Progress number, I don't know, whatever, yada yada, and it's like a person that I don't know their name, you're probably not going to click on that, right? So, and it's an hour long. You're probably not going to click on that because you don't know that person, or you're not like invested in the brand. It doesn't mean anything to you. You might get some, but obviously you're not going to get like high click-through rates. So what you need to do, and what a lot of other people do, is you need to create a second channel. You don't need to create a second channel, but I'm creating a second channel because I think it's the cleanest way to do it. So in the description of this video, you will see the link to our second channel, our FBP Clips channel on YouTube. And I would love for it if you would go subscribe to that. I would absolutely love that. Thank you if you do. But the point of that channel is the way that you set it up is on Fueled by Progress, the main channel, you have the 2 hour long podcast episodes. That's all you have there. On the Clips channel, you take 3 or 4 bits of the video that was an hour long, the best little conversations, like 2 or 3 minutes, whatever, about a certain topic. You take that out, you take the video portion out, you put a clickbaity-ish or just like a topic-related title on that video, and you put a decent thumbnail on it, right? Something that draws people in. Then what you have is you kind of have like a little hook, right? For people to like latch onto and be like, okay, well, let's think. A clip could be the, reasons why you need to get better at finance or something like that like I and somebody else had a conversation about, right? I think there's one video actually on that Clips channel. If you go to that Clips channel right now, there's one clip on there. And it's like Pillars of Life, and it's with me and Alex Connor, and we're having a nice conversation about that. And that was just like a test one, but that's the essence of it. You have a conversation that you had that's much easier to digest, and it's more topic focused. And then what happens there is hopefully the idea is somebody clicks on that because they're interested in it, and then they watch that, and then like, wow, I'd like to hear the whole conversation, or who is this? Who are these people? What is this brand? Yada yada. And in the description of that video, you have this clip is taken from this bigger episode. And if they want to go watch the whole episode, then they can do that. That is a great way to do this. Like that is, and I have not done that yet. So that is absolutely the goal, 100%. To this point, I feel like it takes too much time for me to do all that because that's like 4 times the amount of videos that I have to put up, even though they're smaller and the actual editing and stuff wouldn't matter. But I know for a fact if I did that, we would have more people, more eyes on Fueled by Progress. So that is I don't know how I'm going to do it exactly. Either I'm going to get help or I'm going to just do it myself. But in 2021, we have to do that because it's extremely important for growth. And that is kind of a big deal. And then you can go one step further, and you can put those clips on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok would be a great thing too. I'm just giving out free marketing advice here. That's what I do. Go ahead, steal it. Because truthfully, I stole it from other people. So, but yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. I don't know how deep we're gonna go. Hopefully we can get it up on Instagram and Facebook, like I said too, because I think that's important and could provide even more, get more eyeballs, because we're just looking. You need like, it kind of sounds salesy, I think, to me sometimes, that you have to like hook people. But when you have a really good product and you actually believe in what we're doing here and the conversations and the value that we're providing, then it's not salesy. Like we just need you to look at it. Like we just need you to just take a peek, and then hopefully you'll enjoy it, and hopefully you'll get some value out of it when you, I don't know, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So subscribe. But that's kind of our our general marketing strategy. I mean, there's really, the beautiful part about this is, as far as the podcast goes, there's not a lot you really have to do. You just got to get the content out there and try to put it in front of people. I'm not trying to run any ads necessarily on it. I'm not trying to like spend more money in the marketing aspect right now. I don't really think that makes a heck of a lot of sense, because we have more things that we're gonna have to market in the future. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that right now. Okay, and the last thing, specifically for the podcast, is we're gonna upgrade the studio again. So I like where we're at right now. It's proven to be pretty good as far as, sound quality. Aesthetic isn't too bad. I mean, I know it's just kind of a plywood wall, but I don't mind it. I think that it's definitely kind of a temporary-ish space, and the reason I say that is because Amanda and I will be moving out this year of our respective parents' houses and into an apartment or something like that. So you'll probably see a new studio this year. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you will certainly see a new studio this year, because I do not think that we will be filming episodes here every single time. We might, if this is still here and the space still looks like this, then maybe we'll have some episodes here, but we'll have to figure that out when time comes, because we're not just gonna. We got to keep moving forward, right? And everyone, even if you have a business or you have a brand, that's not your entire life. So things change. You move locations, whatever happens. So we need to constantly be moving forward and adapting and evolving. And I'm almost certain that you will see studio upgrades. You might see studio upgrades here. You might see us in a different space. You might see us more remote at some point, but just know that we're constantly moving forward on that. And that's a big deal for us, because I always like to continue to evolve the things that we're doing. So just like, whether it's the physical aspect of it or the actual workflow or anything, that's hugely important. So studio upgrades, look forward to them. That's another big thing. Okay. So to this point, there's not really anything like new per se. Like there is, but there's nothing newish. We've talked about where we've been. We've talked about the podcast goals for this year and the way we're going to change that and hopefully amplify that. But here's something brand new, and I've been talking about it for a long time. And I've made a lot of mistakes, which I will touch on here. And we need to adapt the way that we do this in 2021. Apparel. So, as I mentioned, I started this brand because I'm gonna be 100% honest. I looked at brands like Everforward, Alphalete, Gymshark, and those were the types of clothes that I wear, athleisure, athletics type of stuff. The brands have messages behind them. I liked the way that they were. I wore some of the clothes. I was like, I would love to do this. I could just do this myself, and I would love to be in this space. And that's kind of the biggest thing that I don't know why. I just saw other people doing it. I thought it was cool. I want to wear clothes with things that I create on them, and my a message that I truly believe in that's from me. So that's what we got, right? And that was the big goal initially. So let me give you some context on that if you haven't been around for a little bit. The best way to see that is on the Instagram page, on FBP Apparel on Instagram. And what has happened to this point is that was like one of the first things that I did. When I created that Instagram, I was like, this is going to be a clothing brand. This is going to be a clothing brand. And I started searching different things, and I started kind of like measuring and trying to like say like, how am I going to create a clothing brand? And I have this problem. I've had this problem with FBP Apparel for a long time because I wanted to make it that good that fast. Like, so what I mean is I wanted to make it I don't know if people know these brands, but Everforward, Alphalete, Gymshark, Nike. I wanted to make it that good right away. I don't think that's impossible. I think you could absolutely do that. But the problem is that it's difficult financially in a sense. It's difficult from a logistics point of view because you'd have to either get I'm not going to go deep into the clothes thing, like as far as like the manufacturing and like how the hell you can do it. There's a million and one ways. But the point is that I have just had this problem mentally that basically says let me take a step back. You can go down to anywhere and you can get a regular shirt, right? And you can throw a design on it, right? And that's great. I didn't want that. I never wanted that for FBP. That's not the vision that I had in mind. That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want the apparel. I didn't want the apparel of Fueled by Progress to be like merchandise or just a simple shirt with FBP logo on it. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be high quality gym wear and gym, you know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. Like it's like cotton spandex, like stretchy, thick, not like a shirt that you pull off a rack at like a Walmart or something. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be legit. I wanted it to be high quality and stuff. So to give some perspective and context on what has happened, I have basically just dragged my feet because what I did at first was I ordered some samples. I ordered some of those samples that I thought would be good enough for what I was doing. I ordered them from a company called Printful, which is basically kind of what it is. It's a great platform. We use it for merch in different brands, AM and the PM and such, but I really don't want to do that. I still don't want to do that. And I'm talking about it now, and my mind is running back and forth. Like, I don't want to start there because I don't want that to be the brand. Like, I don't want people to see clothing that is just a t-shirt with Fueled by Progress on it. It's probably stupid though. Like it's actually really probably stupid because I've had people counter that with saying you want to get your brand out there, don't you? Like you want to have people wearing FBP on their shirts. It doesn't need to be the highest of high quality right now. And that makes a lot of sense. But it's just not the vision that I had. It's not the vision that I had at first. It's not the vision that I ever had. So as I'm talking about this, I'm still not exactly decided, but I need to do something about the apparel. I need to do one of two things. I need to either just shut up and just go in on making the clothing that I know that I need to. And you can do that many ways. I mean, you can do that internationally, you can do it domestically, but actually designing the clothing that I want to do, which I have not taken the time to do in full. I've dabbled here and there, and ordering samples and getting an actual inventory shipment of that. So mass producing a shirt design or two or something. So that's one option. Or I just say, well, yeah, that totally makes sense. We need to get the brand out there, and we just do it through a Printful or something where, it's clothes with the brand on it. It's not a clothing line. I wouldn't call it apparel. I would actually call it merch. And that will really hurt me because I don't want FBP merch. I want FBP apparel. So I'm kind of pouring my thoughts out here to you guys, and I hope that maybe you provide some feedback or let me know if I'm an idiot or whatever. But that's kind of where I'm at. I really don't want that. I do not want the just simple merchandise for this brand. I think this means so much more. I think it has so much more of a meaning to it. And I know that it has a lot of potential. So I think the one thing is though, and I do come back to this, is that it would be just a start if we do the merch idea, right? It wouldn't be the end of the game. We could always evolve. We could always adapt. And I think that ultimately is the right way. It's really hard for me to actually completely process that and really just swallow. I don't want to say swallow my pride, but maybe that is what I'm doing, and just be okay, well, this is where we'll start, and we'll eventually get to where we want to go. I'm not taking my own advice and just starting, I guess, is the problem. So maybe I should do that, but more to come there. Like I said with that, and then I threw this in here on the same clothing thing because it has been part of the holdup, or it's been the holdup of my dilemma there has caused the website to not be finished, and you can blame Find a Tech for that, which is me. But no, that's kind of funny because I build the website. It's the web development company is my company, so I'm building it. But the thing with the website, and if you go to fuelbyprogress.com right now, you'll just see the social media, it'll say website coming soon, and it'll have the links to the podcast and everything. The website is legit. It's going to be nasty. I have played with it, stepped away from it, played with it again. I'm really liking the way that it is. And when I build a website, I don't just build a website, I build a goddamn ecosystem. So it's going to have everything in it that I need. It's going to have the podcast, it's going to have the store, so the apparel for everything. It's going to have the community probably as well, which we will get to here. So that's going to be the epicenter of the website is always the website of any brand that I have is always the epicenter of that brand, because again, to go back to marketing and branding, that is the most quintessential thing, I think. If you have the opportunity, if you have the funds to do it, or you have the skills to do it, build off of your website. It's totally an aside, but every website that I build, I make sure that that's the thing, and it's no different for fuelbyprogress.com. So the reason that I put website on here is because it has been held up by that dilemma, because I didn't want to open the store without having products. I didn't want to open the website without having products. But on there, you're going to be able to find the podcast episodes. You can listen to them on there or on the associated apps. Links to everything. You'll be able to shop for the apparel when we get it, or I guess the merch or whatever we end up doing at first. And more information. More about the team that we have right now. It's kind of just Amanda and me. And the sky's the limit, because I can do whatever I want on there. But that's the point, is that you'll have access to that in 2021 here at some point. And that'll be very exciting when we launch that. So, lots of good stuff there. But again, that's probably like Fuel by Progress on the surface looks like a podcast, and it looks like, oh, this is great, people every week. But that is why it was conceived. The idea was conceived. It was to be that apparel brand. And I have just had this back and forth thing with myself for so long. And we're going to address that in 2021, because we need to move past it. So that's where we're at with that. But look out for FBP Apparel, because it's going to be legit. I will make it legit. I don't know if it'll be right away, but it will absolutely be legit. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Okay. And the last part of the business is community. Now, the community is already pretty strong. I would say that I kind of think that everybody that's been on the show is kind of part of the FBP community, because they've been a guest. I'm sure there's people that watch the show that haven't been a guest. So I would also say that they're part of the community. And pretty much like anybody I know. Like, anybody that I know in my life, I kind of think that they're at least somewhat a part of, kind of what we're doing. Obviously they're not like, they don't have hands in it, but like anybody that inspires me, I kind of think that they would fit into the FBP community. Anybody that's fueled by progress, right? So some updates on this, because this is totally brand new too. Like, you might think of a community as just like your subscriber base and stuff, but I don't really want it to be that. I want it to be much more than that. I want to actually have a community of people that are actively trying to get better and sharing their thing with others. Like, I never want this to be like this, where I'm just talking to the camera. This one's important because it's an update, but I'm saying, like, every one of these episodes has been me talking to somebody, and hopefully the conversation that we had sparks conversations with other people, or it gives people other people value or anything. So hopefully that is what we're doing, and that's at least the goal. So as long as we're moving towards that, I'm happy. With the community aspect of it, I want to take it one step further. It's not just about me. It's not just about the guests. It's about everybody that's a part of this. So I've tried a couple things already. So let's talk about that. What I've tried to this point is, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, or Instagram, Instagram profile or whatever. Those are good for marketing and stuff. Not really great, I would say, for like building a community where people can, bring ideas to the table and all that sort of stuff. So in my perusing of different people and brands, I have kind of went another step. I tried to make a Discord groups of, here's the thing. I say Discord and I don't know who knows what that is, but Discord is basically like a place that it's an app, it's a website, it's a little desktop app that you sign in for, and then you can belong to different groups essentially, right? Little Discord servers is what they're called. But I built one. I kind of have it like up and running. I have different things kind of laid out in there. I like the concept. I don't know if I like the execution. I don't know if I like the actual platform for the people that might be a part of the community. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense. I think we might need to do something different. And honestly, it goes against my core principle of having everything really tied into one branding and one centralized thing. So we may scrap that idea before it even gets off the ground. But I wanted to document that because I haven't really talked about it too much. Like I've talked about it on my personal stuff as I was playing around with it. And I still, again, like the concept, and I might take some of the inspiration from what that is. But ultimately, I think there's a much higher likelihood of one of two things happening. It'll ideally, one of two things. The first thing that might do is probably actually kind of the easiest is make a Facebook group. But Facebook is still kind of rough. Like people don't really belong to that. It's an idea. It's something that we could do. But I'm not a huge Facebook dude. I'm on it for when I need to be on it. But I don't know. That's one idea. Maybe we could have a Facebook group. The other thing that I'd really like to do, but I don't have a plan for it. I don't know how I would do it. I just have the very basic concept is build the community and the group and the whole thing, that whole community aspect right into the website, right into fuelbyprogress.com. That is the most exciting to me, but also does not come without cons, and potential drawbacks. I mean, would people want to sign up for that? Like, why is the reason they want to do that? Does it cost money? Does it not cost money? What's the perks? What's the reason? Another account that they'd have to manage. A lot of those questions kind of go through my head. But I promise you that there will be some sort of community aspect to this. I mean, it'll be in the comments. It'll be on social media. But I really want it to be a little bit more than that because I think it's important. I want other people to literally share their experiences with the whole community. So, and if you'd like to be on the show, let me know. We can do that. But as far as the community aspect, like I said, it's something that I think is a very important third piece of this. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And just that's kind of the way that I see this. So, and kind of along with that, there will also be this year definitely more ways to support what we're doing here at FBP. So right now, as far as monetization and things along those lines, if we ever sell anything like clothing, obviously that's the way that we could monetize and continue to keep us going. And bigger than that, and more different. Obviously, right now there are ads on some of the podcast episodes. Not ads on YouTube yet. We need to get to monetization first. So 1,000 subscribers. Tell your friends. But we have to do that. We have to hopefully monetize on YouTube. We're going to monetize on. We already monetize on the podcast apps themselves. So if you listen to that, there'll be like an ad or two in there. So we appreciate you listening to those. And there's going to be more ways because the tools that we have right now allow for listener support. So we'll activate that. I don't know if it'll be on this one, but there'll be a link in the description moving forward that I'll probably have to market a little bit better if I do want anybody to even know about it, let alone, sign up for it, for listener support. So you can sponsor the show and just support us on a certain annual basis or like a monthly basis, I think they have. And we could always do outside things too. Like we don't have to do just straight through that, which actually might be a better idea, like support through the website or something. We never ask for money, but if you'd like to provide it, we greatly appreciate it. We like to continue to do cool things, have these cool conversations. And until we start like selling the products or things like that, we're gonna, just continue to do what we're doing, mostly for free. But we do make a couple bucks off of certain things here and there. But just that's kind of the idea. I want to provide a lot of value, and I want to give people the way to opportunities to support if they enjoy what we're doing and they feel like they're getting something out of it, enough to pay. If not, no worries. But I don't ever want to charge for like information per se or conversation. That's just but I do want to give people the opportunity. So we're gonna play with that idea and see what we can do there. And then in addition to that, completely the opposite. I want to make sure that with that community and with the social media and everything that we have, I want to do a ton more giveaways. We haven't done any because the one time I tried to do it, it was actually this pop socket here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that on the camera. Maybe I'll zoom in or something if you're watching on YouTube. A little FBP pop socket that I think is nasty. Actually, it's pretty gross. In a good way. That's what I say. And then we had 2 stickers, so like FBP stickers. If you come on the show, you get one of these for free. I give those as a parting gift. But this, I think, was the giveaway package: 2 stickers and the pop socket. When we reached 100 followers on Instagram, and we have not hit that number yet. So tell your friends to hit that, and then we'll do that one. But I want to do a lot more of that. Like I want to get more stickers. I want to get more like cool things like that. Maybe like water bottles or just something that I can kind of, the brand can give back to the people that support it, because I think that's important. And yeah, I don't know, just fun shit. Giving away fun shit is kind of what I think. So we're definitely gonna do more of those. We got a ton of stickers here. We got a lot of stuff. But definitely more giveaways as we continue to grow and get more support and more items and just like marketing materials and all that sort of stuff. And honestly, I totally forgot to talk about this when we talked about the clothing, but I brought these samples out here, all the Fueled by Progress like apparel that we've made so far. And you can see it on like the Instagram, but it's just, I don't know. I thought I'd throw this in here. I mean, we could give away clothing. Like when we get the clothing, we can give away clothing. So like, something, just FBP on the back. I don't know if you can kind of see that, but this is the newest one right here, the newest sample that I have, and it's FBP shorts. So it's Fueled by Progress down the side. And again, I don't know, I talk about this all the time on my MJS stuff, but like, I don't know. I just want the quality to be good, man. Like, I just want the quality of this apparel to be good. I don't want people to. The worst thing that I would think is like people buy a piece of FBP clothing and it's like, wow, this ain't that good, because that's not the reason that I started this. I didn't want this to ever be merch and just like stuff that you could get somewhere. I wanted it to be legit, but I don't know. Quality is subjective, so that's kind of a stupid reason, though. So I don't know. We're going to start somewhere with that. That's the clothing conversation. There's a little bit of that. Like I said, the giveaways and everything. We got a lot of shit coming. We got a lot of stuff coming in 2021. I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited about everything that we've done to this point. I know that, like I said, looking back on some of the early episodes when I'm just talking to my car, I mean, I've come so far. The show has come so far. People in my life, people that, have watched the show, thank you so much. I mean, I hope everybody is continuing to move forward. As weird of a year as 2020 was, I'm happy with the progress we made. I know that a lot of people out there, it was a good kind of like just kind of like a good year to take a step back and just kind of look at everything and then move forward from that. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the 2021 for Fueled by Progress. I'm excited for everything, really. And again, I think that's pretty much everything, guys. I cannot say thank you enough, really, truthfully. I cannot say thank you enough for all the support we've gotten so far, the listens, the views, subscriptions. Please share it out if you have more people in your life that you think could benefit from the things that we're doing here. I know that it's what I try to do every day. I try to get more people involved. I try to get the message of just what it is to live fueled by progress and everything out there through anything that I'm doing, whether it's the brand specifically or just my personal stuff. And but like I said, I mean, if you believe in it and it's doing something for you, don't hesitate to reach out. If we can do something better, let me know. If you'd like to be a guest, let me know. Again, tell your friends and stuff like that. But more than anything, guys, thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. We all do. It's been a great 2020. It's going to be a great 2021, and that's all we got. So this has been another episode of Fueled by Progress with my empty studio and just me, Mark Joe Szymanski, here with you. But again, guys, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Stay fueled by progress, and let's keep going.